Hey Spurs, welcome to lesson 1 of the week of May 11th through the 15th. Okay, so this week guys, your reading T is to infer the theme of work, distinguishing theme from topic, which was same as what we did last week, where we determined what the theme was of one of your independent reading books. And we read Enemy Pie together. But what I want to go over today is kind of look at the difference between the plot and the theme of a story. Okay, the plot is what happened, what is it about? And then the theme is what is the message or the lesson of the story. So for example, I noticed that a lot of students are kind of, sometimes they'll get plot and theme a little bit mixed up. The plot is kind of like the summary, like what happened in the story. So let's look at Enemy Pie. The plot, what happened in the plot, what happened, and we start, like we did Plot Mountain. So let's start at the beginning. Then we're going to introduce the problem. And what happened was the narrator, which was the boy, right? The boy that was in the story. The narrator has an enemy named Jeremy Ross. He has a difficult or a hard time with him. Jeremy Ross is his biggest enemy. Okay, and then what else happened as we're starting to go up the plot mountain is that Dad told the boy to spend a day being nice and playing with Jeremy Ross. Okay, so that's kind of like we're in the plot, we're introducing the problem, we're starting to go up. The boy's having to spend a day with Jeremy Ross, and then the epitome of the problem, the climax of the problem is when they were eating the pie. So Dad told the boy to spend a day being nice and playing with Jeremy Ross. Dad makes an enemy pie. Jeremy Ross and the boy have a day together, and the boy starts to like Jeremy. And then this is when the problem starts to happen, is the boys eat the enemy pie. And remember, the boy was like getting kind of nervous because he was like, oh, please don't eat that pie. The boy realizes the pie was a way to bring the boys together. Okay. And so that pretty much was the whole plot, right? The narrator has an enemy named Jeremy Ross. He had a hard time with him. He's his biggest enemy. Dad told the boys to spend a day being nice and playing with Jeremy Ross. Dad makes an enemy pie. Jeremy Ross and the boy, they have a day together, and the boy starts to like Jeremy because they get along and they have a good time. The boys eat the enemy pie. The boy realizes the pie was a way to bring the boys together. Having a difficult time typing today. Brings the boys together. Okay, so that's the plot. The plot is basically like a summary of the story. The plot is all the problems that happened in the story and how it was resolved, which is different than the theme. The theme of the story, when we read it last week, we decided that the theme of the story was, the theme of the story was, the lesson was, the best way to get rid of an enemy is to make him your friend. So I really want you Spurs to think about that this week. Plot versus theme, because plot is very different than the theme of a story. Plot is like the summary of the story, It talks about the beginning, middle, and end, and the plot really tells you about the problem of the story, what's happening, the rising action, and then as it declines. And then the theme is just the lesson or the moral of the story. All right, Spurs, so tomorrow we are going to be looking through a poem, and the poem is called Since Hannah Moved Away, and we're going to find the theme in that poem. So, Spurs, this week we're looking at how theme is in different works of literature, how we can find it in fiction, how we can find it in poems, and also in a biography that we're going to be reading the day after that on Wednesday. All right, Spurs, I'll talk to you later. Bye.